All right.
Here's the start. Okay, now the story begins. Once upon a time, in the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, a new airport had been built, and plane transportation had just started to become popular. And Edward and Alphonse had to take a plane to another country that Roy wanted to meet them at, and he wanted them to take a plane there because planes get there faster. So they decided to go to the airport, and they ended up bringing their luggage. When they got there, they got to the part where the scanning part, where you have to walk through the detector area. Pass.
Over there.
Sometimes I lost for words.
Okay, well, Edward's little brother was too big to fit onto the plane, so they came up with the idea of disassembling him and packaging him in individual suitcases that they would collect later on. And as for his arm and leg, those didn't pose much of a problem. Although, he still had trouble getting them past airport security. He actually had to take them off of himself, put them through the scanner.
Pass.
And then he had to hop one-legged through the scanning machine because his other leg was going through the security belt. But then the troubles really started because he wanted a stiff drink. But he looked so short and so small, he kept getting carted at every bar he stopped at, and the bartenders refused to serve them because why serve a little kid alcohol? Sure, he might have a metal arm and a metal leg, and he's going to fly.
So he got upset and decided to get Al out of the box, and because Al was taller than him, and he could get him to order the drink. Besides, on his ID, it has a mask of a guy wearing armor. And so he gets Al, go to the bar, get him a stiff drink. The bartender's like, this guy has a little kid's voice, and he's trying to order a drink.
So the person at the bar said, okay, why don't you take your helmet off so I can see you? and it's like, oh no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. He's really hideous under there. And we keep this armor on him to make sure he doesn't scare anybody. And the bartender says, he's scaring my customers already. Why don't you just...
Then Ed said, you really don't want to see what he looks like. If people actually put pictures of what he looks like on their car windows to keep their radios from getting stolen. Pass.
Okay, to which the bartender replies, if he's so scary, maybe he'd be an excellent bouncer. So he decides to hire him as a bouncer until their flight arrives so they can make some extra money, and in exchange, Edward can also get some alcohol, as long as he stays out of sight.
Pass.
And so an eventful 5 hours later, it is time for them to board their flight. But when they get to the terminal, the gates, the stewardesses see that Edward is a little kid, so he must be treated like a little kid. He gets a little blanket, a little pillow, a little kid's meal.
This makes Ed really, really upset. He's freaking out on the plane, telling him, don't call me short, all that. Oh, until the U.S. Marshal on the plane decides to restrain him by electrocution.
When they finally get on the plane, they unfortunately cannot take off because Al's armor is so heavy. So they go up to him and say, sir, you're going to need to go take the armor off and sew that somewhere else. And we could have a special plane carted over wherever you're going. And it's like, you don't want to do that. Really, you do not want to do that. And they're like, well, we can't take off with this guy in here. So he's either going to get off the plane or both of you are getting off the plane. So
they decided to drop. So Edward decided to take Alphonse into the restroom and talk him into taking different parts of the armor off so the plane wouldn't be as heavy, and then make it look like he got off the plane. Pass.
To which the airport stewardess comes up to Edward, who has already stuffed his brother into the overhead compartments, and asks him what happened to his traveling companion, to which he says, of course, "What traveling companion? I was here alone the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about."
And so they fly into the air, into the distant country, on an uneventful flight while Al is stuck in an overhead compartment, wondering, why me? Oh, why me? And Al is eating his little McDonald's kids meal, wondering, why do people think I'm such a little kid? I'm going to end the story right here.
Okay, the end.
No, well, they decide after that they'll never fly in the air again and always take a train from now on.
Okay, and that's the end of the story.